You have to see this clip of Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois exposing who Donald Trump is beholden to in literally under 8 seconds. Just take a look and we'll talk about it.
If you could speak directly to Donald Trump, what would you tell him?
What does Vladimir Putin have on you?
Exactly. A nice, simple response. What does Putin have on Donald Trump? Because in recent weeks, we've seen Donald Trump do basically whatever Russia wants him to do, whether it be admonishing Ukraine, admonishing Zelensky, pushing conspiracy theories about Russia's invasion of Ukraine, all of it. And I think we have to be asking ourselves that if Donald Trump were controlled by Russia, what else would he be doing differently? Because so far down the checklist, he's doing exactly what Putin wants him to do. And funnily enough, we have a major update on the Russia-US relations and certainly the relationship between Donald Trump and Putin that came out just earlier today. The White House announced that Trump and Putin had this long conversation about a variety of topics, mainly the Russia-Ukraine war and Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine. And Donald Trump put out this statement on that phone call saying, quote, "My phone conversation today with President Putin of Russia was a very good and productive one. We agreed to an immediate ceasefire on all energy and infrastructure with an understanding that we'll be working quickly to have a complete ceasefire and ultimately an end to this very horrible war between Russia and Ukraine. This war would have never started if I were president. Many elements of a contract for peace were discussed, including the fact that thousands of soldiers are being killed, and both President Putin and President Zelensky would like to see it end. That process is now in full force and effect, and we will hopefully, for the sake of humanity, get the job done." Now, we know that Donald Trump has practically left Ukraine out of the negotiations to end this war. So when he's talking about a peaceful end to the war, he's talking about a conclusion that helps Russia and not actually helping Ukraine or just global stability, specifically in Eastern Europe. And this idea that he secured a ceasefire with Putin was immediately debunked by the fact that Russia started attacking Ukraine again. We have some reporting after this phone call that an hour after Trump's phone call with Putin, explosions rocked Kyiv. Bombs were being dropped on the Ukrainian capital just an hour after this phone call where Donald Trump is bragging about a peace agreement and a ceasefire in Ukraine. Clearly, Putin didn't take that from the phone call. Clearly, he's just completely disregarding Donald Trump's words because he knows that Donald Trump is beholden to him. If Putin violates this ceasefire, if Putin continues to bomb Ukraine, continues to attack and kill innocent people, what is Donald Trump going to do? Nothing. He's never tried to hold Putin accountable, and we see it time and time again. This has been a long history with Donald Trump. You have Kyiv Post correspondents on the ground reporting explosions, and authorities confirmed that the air defense system in Ukraine was active. Donald Trump's not going to do anything. He's not going to call Putin up and be like, hey, I thought we had an agreement. He's not going to hold him accountable. He's not going to look at sanctions or anything like that. He will see Russia bombing Ukraine and say, continue to do it. You do you. Not going to stop you. And as I mentioned, this is a long history with Donald Trump. We've seen him bow down to Putin. We've seen him bow down to Russia. I mean, back in 2018, I'm sure we all remember this because it was such an embarrassing moment for the United States. Donald Trump sided with Putin and Russia over United States intelligence, our own FBI. The quote from this is absolutely outrageous. After face-to-face talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin, again, this was in 2018, Trump contradicted U.S. intelligence agencies and said there'd been no reason for Russia to meddle in the vote in the 2016 election. Of course, now we know that Russia interfered in the 2016 election. That was confirmed by the FBI, the CIA, Senate Intelligence Committee, and more, which, by the way, was made up of Democrats and Republicans. Donald Trump said, quote, "President Putin says it's not Russia. I don't see any reason why it would be." And that was that. He was told by his own intelligence community, the FBI, saying, hey, we know this to be the case. We know that Russia interfered in the election, and we should take action against Russia to prevent this in the future. Donald Trump said, no, I don't know. Putin says it's not him, so I believe him. There is no president in American history who would just take the word of the Russian leader. None. Ronald Reagan is rolling in his grave. It's only Donald Trump who has changed the trajectory, saying, hey, actually, I think Putin, this dictator who kills his own people and rules with an iron fist, is actually kind of a good guy and somewhat trustworthy when we know he lies constantly. This has been a constant theme for Donald Trump. And he's also put the United States' security and our health in jeopardy because back in 2017 as well, when he was president the first time, he shared classified information with Russian officials in the Oval Office, just said, here, have it, take it, we don't care. According to this BBC article, the information related to the use of laptops on aircrafts came from a partner of the U.S. which had not given permission for it to be shared with Russia, Obviously, Mr. Trump received Sergei Lavrov in the Oval Office last week. National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster dismissed the reporting as false, but of course we know it to be true. The Trump campaign's alleged links to Moscow have dogged his presidency. This was all the way back then. What actually happened in a conversation with the Russian foreign minister and Russian ambassador in the Oval Office, the president revealed details that could lead to the exposure of a source of information. The discussion was about an IS plot. The president reportedly, quote, went off script, revealing specifics about the plot, thought to center on the use of laptop computers on aircraft in the city from which that threat had been detected. So we understand this to be a intelligence gathering capability of the United States. Our partners around the world are using this. And Donald Trump, instead of protecting that so we can continue to gather intelligence on Russia, said, just have it. He went off script just to take the information. It's okay. We in the United States don't care. He's done this consistently, just sharing information that he shouldn't, embracing Putin and Russia when he shouldn't. And we're seeing that right now, especially with these negotiations going on in Eastern Europe and trying to end the war. And I want to end this off by showing you a clip that proves that the Democrats have been right about this issue the entire time. Specifically, former Vice President Kamala Harris. At the 2024 presidential debate, she brought up the fact that Donald Trump bows down to dictators, just does whatever they want, views them as strong, intelligent leaders, and he will embrace them and then look at our allies like Canada, France, Great Britain, and Germany and say, I'm not too fond on them because, they're democracies. Let's just take a look at this clip of Kamala Harris exposing what we knew to be true, trying to warn the American people about what Donald Trump would do if he were elected.
These dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again because they're so clear. They can manipulate you with flattery and favors. And that is why so many military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace.
That's right. All of these dictators and their administrations in their respective countries wanted Donald Trump to win. They supported him. Why? Not because Donald Trump is good for the United States and was going to be harder on them, but because Donald Trump would be good for them. He is easy to manipulate with flattery. If you just say, hey, Donald, I think you're so great, and I think what you're doing in the United States is wonderful, he'll give you whatever you want. He'll give you classified information, as we saw. He'll help you in your country. And then when other leaders around the world, like Emmanuel Macron in France, for example, is saying, I think that we should actually protect NATO. I don't think we should be invading countries like Greenland or the Panama and with the Panama Canal. Donald Trump says, oh, that's a bad guy. Kamala Harris was right about this. The Democrats have been right about Donald Trump's just bowing down to dictators, and it continues to happen during his presidency, and it's continuing to happen in Eastern Europe with North Korea, whoever it might be. You pick a dictator, Donald Trump has probably said something nice about them, whether it be present or in the past. We know that Donald Trump was very fond of Hitler, had Mein Kampf in his bedroom, according to multiple different reports on that. But that's Donald Trump. That's the position we're in. I'm very appreciative of J.B. Pritzker kind of calling out the truth about Donald Trump and correctly acknowledging that he's not beholden to us. He doesn't listen to the American people. He doesn't care about us. He's not loyal to us. He's loyal to Putin and people like that. And Donald Trump's history and what he's doing right now proves that. So I appreciate you watching. Make sure to subscribe down below. It goes an incredibly long way. Also drop a like on the video, comment. Let me know what you think about all of this stuff, of course. And I hope to speak to you soon.